behind you now.
You'll split you, pretty boy.
I'll split ya! I'll split ya! I'll split ya! Run! 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 Run!
Hey, you okay? We went a bit over.
All right, everybody, welcome to our annual Halloween month and a half. I love how you say month and a half.
Spooky.
Yeah, we are extending Halloween month because go figure, the guys at Sinister Frame like horror.
Yeah, exactly.
And we just talked Barbie, so we need a cleansing of the soul.
We need the antidote.
And what's the antidote for that? Horror.
Yep.
So we've got haunted house horror, exorcism horror, all kinds of horror coming up. And every Halloween we seem to time it right when a good Halloween movie is coming out. Obviously Halloween Ends would have been one of them. And of course the new Exorcist comes out next week. So we'll be putting that one in the mix. And yeah, hopefully it's good. I've heard some rumors, but I try to stay away from it. But unfortunately with social media, things always pop up that you don't want to see.
And I read spoilers, I must admit. It's a habit I'm trying to break.
Well, that's your fault.
Yeah, well, yeah. Who else's would it be? You know, but yes, I'm keeping a completely open mind about this new Exorcist film until I see it.
Yeah, well, that's the way it should be in any film.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, so back in 1984, a little studio called New Line Cinema was not doing well. And they decided, Robert Shea decided to team up with a little man called Wes Craven and give it one more go. And that little film was A Nightmare on Elm Street. And New Line Cinema has always been the house that Freddy built.
Yeah.
Ever since then. And that's a great story. I've always liked that story. Mm-hmm. Little Engine That Could studio made it big because of a horror. They went on to obviously do Lord of the Rings and all those films, New Line Cinema. So they win Oscars now, and so kudos to New Line Cinema.
Kudos to Freddy Krueger.
And kudos to Freddy.
The bastard son of 1,000 maniacs.
That's right. And child rapist. Well, there you go.
Well, yeah. Well,
wow, let's really throw that one in the mix here.
Who then became...
You sick bastards who have Freddy dolls.
Yeah. Freddie then became a rapper as well.
Yeah, pedophile
back
rapper.
in the 80s.
They're big in the 80s.
Yeah.
So,
and they were selling dolls. I mean, never mind Barbie. We had fucking Freddy dolls when we were kids. You know what I mean?
I know.
Yeah.
So in the mid-90s, well, late 90s, Lionsgate came about. Small independent company, did all horror. They did a little film called Saw. Saw and his little brothers that came after it. Every Halloween, we got the new Saw film. And a movie that cost $1 million to make would go on to make millions every year. And that built Lionsgate into a big company who now does big budget films, including The Hunger Games and so forth and so forth. All thanks to a little film called Saw.
Well, it just shows that all of these studios have done the great things. Their roots are in horror, and if it wasn't for horror, the much criticised horror, they wouldn't be where they are today. I'm not saying that they're ungrateful about it, but I think it's worth noting.
Well, horror films are always the redheaded stepchild, and so they're always frowned upon. But yet, they always go back to it because they know that's going to profit.
Money makers, yeah.
Then we have a new studio called 824 Studios. They have done, they're Australian, I believe. A lot of their productions are Australian, but they do like 4 million to 10 million budget films. And all their films seem to do really well for them. We just recently talked to one called X.
Yes.
T. West Films and Pearl and so forth. But they also did I hate mentioning them, but they did profit and they did
The Witch.
review well. The Witch, Hereditary, Green Room, It Comes at Night, and now
The Lighthouse.
I didn't mention that one on purpose.
Oh, you're not getting away with it?
So you can kind of say these guys took the elevated horror or smarter horror, and they did something different with the horror name and kind of did their own little genre with it. Things like Go Bump in the Night and cults and stuff like that. So kudos to A24 for doing that, and they've maintained that image.
To me, there's no elevated horror, or there's no non-elevated horror, for want of a better phrase. There's just horror. Let's just
Okay, so yeah, I know, but it's unfortunately you film snobs.
I'm not a film snob.
I'm you like Lighthouse.
So what?
So I don't care. So let me get back to what I was talking about here. Now, on a $4 million budget, they have their most successful film to date. It's made $72 million worldwide, and that little film is called Talk to Me. This is written and directed by, I believe, brothers Philip Powell. I'm probably butchering that. I apologize. They are Australian. Australians make good fucking movies.
Yeah,
and they got some good actors down there, man.
Yeah,
I mean, they really built an empire in their industry, and kudos to James Wan and the gang. They're all from down there, I believe.
Well, you go back to the Mad Max films as well, the original Mad Max films. Then in the 80s, we also had the classic soap Neighbours. Comes from Australia.
Well, you had in the 70s. You had what they call it was called Aussie exploitation.
Ozploitation. That's what the Mad Max films were, the first two.
Mad Max, and then they got into the more fun stuff where it was Crocodile Dundee was a hit, and then you had Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, became a massive hit. Introduced us to Hugo Weaving. Introduced us to Guy Pearce. Actors that are a household name for us now.
Guy Pearce started Neighbours as well.
Yeah, they all started in Neighbours. Sort of Russell Crowe, I'm sure.
Yeah, he did actually.
They all did. So you just keep bringing up fucking Neighbours. For fuck's sake. Over in the UK, it's fucking Doctor Who. In fucking Australia, it's Neighbours. Are you happy?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. I swear to God, if I mention any of these names and you bring up Neighbours, I'm going to kill you. Oh my God. All right, so this film, I've watched it quite a few times, believe it or not. Every time I watch it, it's got really good rewatchability because you catch little things that you miss.
Yes.
And the wonderful thing about it, it's 90 minutes long. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It gets to the point, and it's fast paced. But at the same time, even though it's fast paced and you think it should be rushed, it isn't. It's so well cut,
tight.
It's tightly woven, and it's all due the editing directors, but the actors sell it.
Oh yeah, I was going to mention that. I think, and they're a very young cast, apart from Miranda Otto.
Very young actors.
Yeah, and they are all bang on. And one thing and also very well written as well, because very well written and acted, because they behave like actual teenagers and they totally sell it. Yeah,
it's a young actress who steals the show, Sophie Wilde, who plays Mia. You've got Marcus Johnson, who's the father, Max. You got Joe Bird, who's excellent in it, plays Riley.
Brilliant.
I've never felt so sorry for a character in my entire life.
And he even looks vulnerable, that kid, you know what I mean? Cast perfectly.
You've got the sister Jade, who's wonderfully acted in it. I felt sorry for even her character.
Oh, she's
just
brilliant.
her self-esteem is questioned in this. Alexander Jensen plays her. We got the great Miranda Otto, who I always like to see, who plays the mother, who's so fun. Then you got the two bullies, but they're not. They're kind of very likable.
They're vulnerable.
That's Haley and Josh
as well.
They're all
in a way.
And then you got I mean they all are vulnerable.
Yeah,
and it's almost like a horror film meets The Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
Because you have these set teens that you're going to be introduced to. There's not many bodies in this. It's pretty much just the set group. And I know they're going to do a sequel now, and the brother said we have one in mind, so I hope to God they don't fucking ruin it.
Yeah.
And if they are going to come back and revisit these guys, I hope they all come back. But again, we don't know. We'll just see how it goes. Here's the great thing about it. It's different. And A24, whether I like their stuff or not, like The Lighthouse, at least they have the balls to test the waters.
Yeah, take risks.
And they exactly, and that's what indie can do.
Yeah.
Because there's nobody to bully them. They can do what they want. So, what I like about it, it's not your typical horror film. It is pretty much just about a possession that has gone wrong. Now, a possession that's gone wrong sounds kind of funny. A possession, pretty much something has gone wrong.
It's a Ouija board film, but with a hand.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is a Ouija board, I guess you can say. It is a fun possession game gone wrong. Let's just jump into it real quick.
Go for it.
And the opening scene grabs you right away. I mean, this opening scene is fucking awesome. The brother Cole is running in to get his brother out of his party. Kicks open the door, sees his brother. He's all bloody, blah, blah, blah. He knows his brother's on something we don't know at this point. But all of a sudden, he stabs his brother, and then he takes a knife to his face. Oh!
Yeah, it's a brutal opening.
The first couple minutes of this movie, nail it, and they've got me.
And they also set the tone for what's to come.
Exactly. It is a hard... I mean, you don't see it... I've never seen this in theater. I think I saw this with you.
We did. We went. It was the two of us and my other friend, yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yes, right. We were going to review it, but we wanted to save it for Halloween month and a half. But and then we meet Mia, who is at her 2-year, I guess the 2-year anniversary of her mother's death.
Yes.
And she's obviously not doing well. You can see with a great shot. Again, this is all done within first 15 minutes of this film. Not even. You're introduced to Mia, the father. You already know there's some tension there. The father's blurred out in the background, and all you see is Mia doing the dishes. And she is, you can tell she's rolling her eyes. Clearly, she blames her father for something. We don't really know what that is yet. And then she goes to pick up Riley, who's pretty much her adopted brother. And their whole relationship and chemistry is brilliant. And then you bring in the sister into the mix, Jade.
Yes. Into
the mix. And the mom, they pretty much have adopted Mia into their family since the mom is passing.
Yeah.
And it is just a great dynamic. And you really, really get these characters. You can relate to at least one of them.
I love how Miranda Otto's mother character is like so suspicious of teenagers and she's always trying to catch them out. You know what to do with. So when's the party?
The party?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Mia was just telling me about the party. When is that? What party?
Yeah. And then she questions the guy. Is it David you call him?
Daniel.
She questions him. And he says, "Where's your drink? You got a drink in the car? You got your alcohol?" He goes, No, actually I don't drink. He goes, "You're good."
Yeah. You say, Daniel, my daughter's vagina off limits.
Yeah. And you can feel their cringe because, like, if your mom did say that whenever you were a teenager to your friends, you would be mortified. You know, it's just very well played and written.
It is. I mean, it's almost like I mentioned, The Breakfast Club. It's got a very John Hughes kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
And by this whole dynamic, this first 15 minutes or so, you don't want things to go wrong.
Yeah.
You're rooting for them.
Oh yeah, it's setting them up well. And also, I would like to mention Riley's totally obnoxious fucking friend. When they're smoking at the start and stuff.
Oh yeah, but he's very small part.
Oh, I know that, but he's just well. Again, it's just well realized. You know.
And what also works, they get away from the cliche of the bullies, of the brats. There's always a brat or somebody. You have these two, Haley and Josh, who are very good in it as well. They're not in it as much. They might be in a sequel. We don't know. They're kind of outside the box, but they're kind of like they would be considered the bullies, but they're not. They're quite likable.
They're well-rounded characters.
Yeah, they're not yuppies. They're not these.
Well,
you liked them. There's some tension between Haley and Mia, but we don't really know what that is. But it's nothing that you really dwell on.
They're not caricatures. They're actually believable characters. You know. So I thought that was great. You know, the characterization of all of these sort of young characters, and again, as I say, the acting spot on.
Yeah, it really hits home when they go to the party, Talk to Me. So this thing, which by the way you can buy for Christmas, is coming out. You can buy the hand. Fuck.
Right, then that's a beautiful Christmas present, a possessed hand. You know,
I'm gonna get one.
Are you gonna try and sort of conjure up
No,
otherworldly entities?
knowing my luck, I'll get some asshole. I don't know. I'll get the asshole that Daniel gets.
Here, if I snuff it, I'm gonna come back and haunt you. You know what I mean?
That is the worst. I'd rather have Kazoo or Captain Howdy inside me.
Oh no! Fucking Captain Howdy ain't got shit on me. I'm gonna come back and haunt you with talk of Doctor Who and the Lighthouse.
Fucking
and
hell.
Neighbours.
You know what? You don't have to. All I have to do is hit play in one of our fucking podcasts.
Exactly.
Fucking hell. So the whole object is that they hold this hand and they say, "Talk to me," and then they see the person in front of them. Only they see it, right? They're just a spirit, an entity. And then they say,
I let you in.
I let you in. And boom. It's really cool when Mia does it. So Mia puts her hand and she goes, let me in. The way she sells it when she first sees the ghost for the first time is so fun.
She's a very good actress.
She is. She's got a career.
Yeah.
But once she says, I let you in, her head goes back. Her pupils just go black and large, and she's so creepy and and it's not just the cool eyes; it's her selling it.
The second time they do the hand thing, there's like a montage of them all trying it just before Riley does it, and the Mia character, she's like doing this like sort of Caribbean singing type thing, and she's just really really good in it.
Yeah, she was like a New Orleans jazz singer, I think she was, or something like that.
Yeah, with the possessed eyes and stuff, it's just it works so well.
But the rules are 90 seconds, and if it's over 90 seconds, the possessor takes over.
Yes. So
that's pretty much the rules, and they have to light a candle before they touch the hand, and then blow the candle out. So you turn the light on to let them in. And you turn the light off to let them out.
Yeah.
Pretty much the rules. Simple.
Yep.
I fuck those up in a second. But yeah, she sees this drowned woman, which just really creepy. And when she comes out of it, and how she sells being so frightened, but at the same time of joy. It's almost like she was just on a roller coaster.
Yeah, it's like a buzz. They get a buzz from it.
Yeah, it's the new drug.
Yeah.
And
but
again,
also there's what she plays really well. She's also like there's a bit of bravado there as well, where she doesn't want to appear like a pushy in front of her friends. You know what I mean? So there's a lot going on, and it's really well put across.
Yeah. When Riley gets to play, no. Riley doesn't play yet.
Yes.
Riley's in the next sequence.
The montage sort of.
The montage sequence. But when you're introduced for the first time, you almost want to play it. I know it sounds creepy, but you do.
Oh, there's a temptation there. Absolutely.
There's definitely a temptation there, poking the bear.
Yep.
And you really kind of enjoy this whole sequence of events, and then it goes to where they decide the mom's going to go away for a bit. And this is where we're talking about the mom thinks there's a party going to happen.
Yeah.
And she invites the regulars to come over. And they decide to do it again. And this is where you're talking about the montage. And then poor Daniel gets a spirit.
Yeah.
And
he kisses his dog.
He makes out with the dog and fucking the floor. But it's funny because he turns to Jade. And the spirit in him says, he hates it when you touch him. Mm-hmm. You make him feel soft.
Yeah.
And then the spirit turns to Mia, because right there we knew Mia has a very small fling with Daniel in the past.
Yeah.
And now Daniel's with, obviously, Jade. And Mia looks at it, giddy as a schoolgirl going, hee, and Jade's obviously humiliated. Mm-hmm. And then ends up making out the dog. There's some kind of, I don't know what possessed him, but obviously clearly somebody was very horny.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
And he could
it was
like, turn off the
entity.
cameras.
Yeah.
Turn off the cameras. He's
Yeah.
all embarrassed.
Well, I think those are good touches as well, and they also do it in the opening scene with the brothers. You know, with these days, if some shit goes down, everybody's got their cameras out instead of actually trying to help or help their friends out. It's like, oh, they go straight to their camera phones, and you know, which is pretty obscene, and then everything's posted online.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I like that they addressed that.
So they have this nice montage scene where all the actors got to play a part, all playing different characters as they're possessed. And it's a fun montage and a fun sequence. And you have, like I said, you already have all these likable characters. We kind of know how the rules are already played. And then you have Riley.
Oh, yes.
Now, all these characters are vulnerable somewhat. Mia's probably very vulnerable, but Riley is the youngest. He's the youngest, and you know something's going to go wrong. Jade, the sister, says no, but she leaves the room. Mia says, okay, let's do it. And this is where her decision to do that is going to be her downfall.
Yep.
So when Riley goes under, and it is, I gotta say, just terrifying.
It's brutal.
It is brutal to watch. This is the reason why it got the rating it did, because of this one sequence. It lasts for just a couple minutes, and it is gut-wrenching to watch because you feel, because you've already invested in the characters, because we like them already, and we know that Riley's going to be vulnerable. That when this goes to shit, you
feel so sorry for him.
It's terrifying. It's terrifying.
Yeah, you're terrified
because
for him.
When he goes under, he turns to Mia, and the possessor kicks in. He turns to Mia and starts talking to her. I am sorry, I didn't want to leave you. Mia realizes, oh shit, that's my mother.
Yep.
And so she causes him, this is her guilt, causes him to stay past the 90 seconds, which now the possessor takes over. And he's banging his face to the ground. You don't see it coming. You're just watching this film, and all of a sudden he's banging his head on the coffee table, banging on the corner shelving, trying to take his eye out. Oh, fuck.
It's gruesome. Like,
it is. Yeah, it is. And the reactions to the friends and how they're trying to stop him. It's like they're really going through this, allowing us to go through it with them. And that's what.
And it's prolonged. I mean, you say it is a couple of minutes, but it feels longer because it's prolonged. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's because after the scene's done, you're still thinking about it.
Yeah.
That's why it also feels prolonged. It's such terrifying imagery.
And you said earlier on, this is why they got the rating. I'm presuming it was an 18 certificate because of this, but if they had have left it out or cut it or chopped it up, it would have weakened the film so much. So I'm so glad they kept it in because it's so important.
Yeah, and now Mia's second family is falling apart. Jade's obviously mad at her because she let him do it, but the mother thinks because Mia got busted for doing a little pot.
Yeah,
the mother thinks that she gave Riley some drugs to cause him to do this. So she's now been blacklisted from the family. She trusts and stuff. So that's been taken away from her all of a sudden too. It's just solid stuff. And Miranda Otto, for the small part she has, she's the veteran actress. They wanted to probably get a veteran Australian actress in here, and they brought her on board, and she's
she also
quite
produced
solid.
it. She's like a producer on it.
Okay, I didn't catch that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Here's what I don't get: why is she having the visions? Because Riley is the one who's still possessed technically.
Because she went under for a couple of times and was under a bit too long. But again, it's these spirits, these entities from this netherworld that it's not really our mother. They're fucking mother. You know what I mean? They're playing with
I know. We don't know either.
Yeah.
We don't know, is that her mother or not? Because there's some scenes coming up. But
at this point,
I don't understand the visions. She was never under past 90.
But she was under a couple of times. But the first time, did she not go slightly over it?
No.
Well, I think the only other explanation then would be that because she was so vulnerable due to the death of her mother, and she was so desperate to speak, so she left herself to speak to her dead mother, and so she left herself wide open for this type of thing.
The only thing I can think of is because Riley took the persona of the mother originally.
Yes.
That's what we thought it was. Because he went over the 90, that spirit's kind of open game now. So it's toying with Mia because they know the mother is the vulnerable part.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, that's
because they don't really explain
and
it.
that's I was just about to say, and that's a good that to me that is the best way, because treat your audience with respect, that they actually have a brain in their head and they can sort of think about these things and work them out. Yeah. So again, kudos to the script once again for not spelling it out, type thing. My take on it was more like Reagan in The Exorcist, which I just rewatched recently. It's Mia was vulnerable, and so she was more open to, for want of a better phrase, possession.
There's a scene that's so good, and it just it's not the intro to the scene. It's where she gets caught sucking on Daniel's feet.
Yes.
But they're both sleeping.
But it's not her. Yeah.
But she wakes up, and it's all dark.
Yes.
And you know how you wake up in the dark?
Uh-huh.
Everything's dark, black.
Yeah, that usually happens when you wake up in the dark.
But your eyes adjust.
Yes.
And you can see a little bit of shadowing.
Yeah.
So how they did this shot, I don't know what's deliberate, but I'm going with that. It's they did this.
I would say it would be.
So she gets up. We see it from her point of view. And the camera pans to pan around from the front of the room to just the side of it, and we see these two little dots, and it looks like eyes, and it's like fucking creepy.
Yeah.
But then again, it cuts back to her, and then when it cuts back to her looking at the same shot we just saw, we realize it's just two doorknobs from a closet. But it distracted us from seeing that there was actually something in the corner.
Yeah.
You didn't care. Oh, so well done.
The woman
who was actually sucking on Daniel's feet, but it's actually her being possessed.
Thing. Yeah.
But it was just so clever. It's a misdirect.
Yeah.
We're focusing on the closet and the eyes where we don't really realize the things in the corner.
Yep.
Wonderful. That's very something James Wan would do.
Yeah.
Just kudos. Nice. Best shot of the film, hands down. So, yeah, everything's going nuts. Daniel's not talking because she's sucking on her foot.
Yeah.
And this poor woman she's fucked. She's literally fucked. There's even if you think about it, Mia has no way out of this, but one way, which we'll find out.
Well, she's basically regarding her sort of personal life. I mean, everyone's now against her.
When the father tries to tell her, finally decides to tell her, listen, you're old enough. I need to tell you something. And he reads her the suicide note, and she refuses to believe it, and she goes into a room, and then the dead mother shows up and says it's a lie. So I was like, is she playing with her yet? We don't really know, and so we don't know. Did the father do something? Because we still, and then you hear the banging on the door. Me open this fucking. So I thought you had me the first time I saw this film that the father has some rage and he's going to go after her.
Yeah.
You're like, damn.
That's not the case.
But then it's not. It's her imagination or the possession going on.
Yeah.
And then she actually stabs her father in the throat.
Yeah.
Who we know survives.
Well, the father was completely innocent in every respect.
Yeah. But that was the whole point. There's a lot of... Well, the one thing these guys... one of the things these guys are very good at is misdirects. And to tell a good ghost story, if you can misdirect, then you've done it. Mike Flanagan was brilliant at it when he did The Haunting of Hill House.
I haven't seen that yet.
Oh, it's incredible. And now he's doing The Fall of House of Usher, which is probably coming out here any day now.
Yeah.
So he's very good at, playing with the audience.
Yeah. Playing with audience expectations.
It's so good. So Mia decides she's going to go under, because at this point she's fucked.
Yes, she's no other option.
She's no other option.
But she's basically, and it's to save Riley as well, obviously.
Yeah, she thinks he's killed her father. She went in to talk to this Riley, and we find out that he is possessed by this hideous, evil creature.
I found the stuff with where it's basically you find out that Riley is actually in this horrific sort of netherworld limbo type, and they're basically ripping his soul to shreds. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's almost like a purgatory in hell.
Yeah.
Or something.
You catch glimpses of it, and it's pretty dark stuff. Like, you know,
it's pretty. Yeah, it looks like a big orgy almost.
Yeah, but not a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't want. Okay. Well, I don't want. Okay, Trevor. So, wow. Okay. Phew.
I mean, there's nothing nice about this orgy.
Wow, we know what Trevor does on his day off.
I wish.
No. Oh, wow. There you go. So once Mia and the spirit lets her in to see what he's going through, Riley she's got no choice at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So the only way she can do is kill him.
Yes, and free his soul.
And she's going to do this. But there's a great, again, I said in the beginning of the podcast, the rewatchability of it, where this whole time she's been misled by her mother, or she's been guided by her mother, who's giving her wrong decisions,
yes,
making her do wrong. So she has, and there's Jade running after her. She is going to throw Riley into the traffic, pretty much, to end his pain. And the mother's, you're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing. But the mother says one thing, and all Mia does is look up, meaning she knows the mother's lying.
Yes, and it's not even really her mother. Yeah.
Yeah. When she says, "His soul will be with us now."
Yeah. Yep.
Same thing that the possessor of Riley said.
Yep.
So right there, she knows she's been played. So she takes her own life.
Yep.
Now, it's a wonderful transition when she gets up. You know she's pretty much passed because she's in the hospital hallways, and you see Riley getting up, but they're not acknowledging her. She's still up, beaten up, and broken hands, broken fingers.
And time is sort of going differently for her.
Yeah.
She's dead.
And
there's also a brilliant scene where she looks at herself in the mirror when she's dead, and there's no reflection. This harks back to an earlier scene where she talks about having a dream where I believe it's Daniel she tells it to, or it might be Riley. But anyway, she talks about a dream that she has at the beginning, near the beginning of the film, where she looks at herself in the mirror and she's no reflection. That is what happens when she dies at the end.
Yeah, and then she sees the father ignoring her as she's screaming for him to come, and obviously we know the father survived then.
And Riley survived. I was glad Riley survived. I mean, I'm pretty morbid.
Well, I don't get that, though. Why is he not still possessed?
Because, I don't know, I'm presuming her sacrifice meant that they basically... it's a self-sacrifice where she's basically now in the land of the dead. So she sacrificed herself for Riley to survive. But also the spirits were lying about, presumably, possibly lying about what was actually happening with Riley. You know, and they were looking Riley so proper. So maybe Riley wasn't in that netherworld, you know, after all, and they were just playing with her. Again, there's a lot of interpretations here.
Yeah, especially because Riley technically would be, but maybe you're right, maybe. I don't know if something was said, because when the mother says his soul will be with us, I don't know. I think
they what it was I think right when Riley was in the coma. He was basically he was like between worlds, you know, between our world and also what comas are in a way like, and also the land of the dead. And I think for him to fully sort of make the transition over to the land of the dead, he had to die, and they were trying to get Mia to kill him. But then Mia realized this is bullshit, so she sacrificed herself. Did she really have to sacrifice herself? But I suppose I don't know. But
that's why I don't get what there was nothing mentioned about self-sacrifice.
Yes, I don't think she had to do that
unless they might have. I might have missed it.
But anyway, but basically,
it still works.
Oh yeah, well, well, they had to have a big finale anyway, and sort of it does work. But essentially, she realized that these spirits were lying, and they were actually trying to get her to kill Riley, so that then they would fully have Riley's soul. So the word, but she caught on to this. And so she saves Riley, you know, she saves his life. She's the hero. She becomes the hero. You know, and she totally compensates for the bad decisions that she made throughout the film.
I love when she wakes up from the hospital.
Yeah,
and she's looking at some stranger.
Yeah,
and now she's become one of the spirits in the game.
It's a very nice touch.
Yeah, and then he says, "Talk to me."
And they're
in the
like
camera.
South American or something, so it's like in a different continent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. Be interesting to see. Hopefully, the brothers did have something ready to go for a sequel, and they're not just going to rush something out.
I think I should just leave it as it is and move on to like a different project altogether. The problem with these types of films when they do make sequels, it's the law of diminishing returns. Just fucking leave it as it is and make a new horror film, with different characters.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe you bring the same cast, some of the cast back, but have to play different characters.
If they do a sequel, I want the cast back. Just because I want a sequel to them.
Yeah.
Where they're at.
Yeah, follow up to their story.
Even the two kind of bully kind of characters, I want to see them bigger parts because they were all very good. So we're gonna now have to adapt to a whole new team of this. I'm not gonna enjoy it. I don't think you can't strike lightning in a bottle twice. Whatever the saying is, but if you're gonna do it, bring these guys back.
Yeah, no, 100 because we want again. This is a bit of an obscure reference, but the main issue I haven't seen. The female reboot of Ghostbusters. I haven't seen it, and you don't want to know why? It's not because it's like all female. It's because it's not fucking Bill Murray. It's not fucking Egon Spengler, and it's not it's not the original. I want to see the continuation of their story. So yes, that's basically what you're saying here. If they do make a sequel, don't want a new cast. We want to have a continuation of the story of these characters.
Yeah, let them decide. Let's go get her back. Something. I don't know. Or not even get her back. Maybe they're depressed and they want to see if she's okay. And they try to conjure her up again.
That's like
that would be cool.
Sequel. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they are. But they're, again, I hope it's not rushed.
Yeah. Well, this is the issue as well. When they rush them through. But also, it's, they're never as good as the originals. For the most part, by far.
Yeah. There you go. We'll see what happens. So,
very solid.
Very solid film.
We've seen it all before now, these possession-type films, but at the same time, this is, I think what really elevates this and brings it to the fore is a brilliant script, brilliant characters, and brilliant acting by the young cast.
Yeah, we've been pretty much saying that through the whole podcast. Yeah. So, so it was nice because after seeing that well-received and box office hit Smile, which was the biggest train wreck I've ever seen, it's nice to see this one live up to its popularity because it deserves it. It's a fun film.
Indie studios rock. Indie horror studios all the way.
So there you go, and we're done. That's our first.
First of Halloween.
First Halloween month and a half.
Yeah. Fuck it. We'll just fucking scrap Christmas and just make Christmas Halloween 2.
No, we got some good Christmas horror. We're going to do Violet Night. That's supposed to be good.
Yeah.
Harbor.
Yes, that's the guy from Stranger Things.
Yeah, we'll probably have to tackle Home Alone or something.
Oh, fuck, please no. I've never seen Home Alone, by the way.
It's a good Home Alone's classic.
It never appealed to me at the time or to this day,
Well, maybe we'll do like all horror Halloween, Christmas. We'll do horror. Oh, by the way, people. So we got Halloween month and a half, right? And so dipshit, I won't mention his names, but he's talking on the podcast right now. We are gonna just to shut him up and get this over with. We're gonna at the end of November. We're gonna do Doctor Who.
Yes, to celebrate the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who, I have browbeat Ciaran into doing a Doctor Who podcast. And listener to the podcast, Mark Damien Lawler, will be happy about that as well.
Well, I thought about this, and I was, do I want this or put myself in a coma? And I just wasn't sure. And then I thought, you know what? If I can tear this to shreds and see if Trevor can come back on anything I say, I'm like, this might be a treat.
Yeah, well, I look forward to it, and it will. I would imagine it will be an explosive one, almost as explosive as the Doctor and his TARDIS fighting the Daleks.
Oh my God!
The Pepper Pots.
On that note, please give us a shout out at CitizenFrame_podcast on Instagram, and of course on Facebook. The new issue of Phantasmagoria is out now, available on Amazon all over the world, and of course locally here in Belfast and Forbidden Planet, and other shops across the U.S. there we have it. Thanks for listening, all. You take care of yourselves. We'll chat soon. I don't know what the next film is because I am disorganized. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be Burnt Offerings.
Cool.
All right, take care of yourselves.